Well, thanks, guys. It's my honor and privilege to be here. We are excited. I've been invited to speak before, but very rarely am I ever invited to speak again after I've spoken there once. And so this is kind of a surprise. I don't know what to do here with all this. And so I thought I'd bring my family with me, and that would help out. This is my wife, Kendra. Kendra and I have been married for how many years now? 21 years, and we have 2 children to show for that. Nathan and Travis, you guys want to stand up here? Nathan is, come over the stage. Come on. We'll be quick on this. This is Nathan, and Nathan is 16 years of age and driving now. So the first time that I got on the other side of the car, you know what I'm talking about? When you get on the other side of the car, I realized what a church feels like when a new pastor comes. That's exactly the feeling that they have. Like, oh no, what's going to happen? And so that's the way that I felt when he got in that chair, that side of the car. And so far, we've not hit anything. No, so we're doing good right now. So that's really good. So we'll work on that. Nathan, interestingly enough, is kind of my tech guy in the family. So I've got a tech guy here. And so what he does for me is he takes care of all the technology. He also edits some video for a friend of ours who runs a website called growingdeer.tv. If you've never seen that, Grant Wood's a PhD in deer biology, believe it or not, and he shows people how to manage their ranch land and all that kind of stuff, and Nathan edits some video for him. So if you want to check that out, that's a free... we're videoing this, right? We need to make sure Grant gets to see a copy of that, so he'll know that I'm pushed to post that. And then Travis is my 12-year-old son, and Travis, he's also got a job at 12 years of age. He works for a company called Sight and Sound, and you may never have heard of them, but they do Christian Broadway productions in Branson, Missouri, and that's where we happen to be from. So I put my 11-year-old to work, and I think now that he has more money in the bank than I do after those 2 years of that show. And so I don't know if anybody's done that, but they're here with us, and so they're around this weekend, and so they're going to be playing with the other kids and having a great time with them. So thank you for being up here tonight, guys. And so Kendra's up here. She's going to stay here, and we're going to try some things here because Kendra and I, well, we don't really always work well together. Just be honest. Is that true, dear?
Very true.
Okay, her microphone's on. It's supposed to be off, Greg. I don't know if you remember that part. It's supposed to be off. And it's working, your microphone?
Is it on?
It is. No, you're on.
Am I wearing it backwards?
Nathan,
Okay,
would you help
very
her?
good.
She's about to strangle herself on that cord. And I don't know. I don't want that to happen in front of everybody. So we'll take care of this. All right, we'll try that again with my wife. So we don't normally try this kind of stuff together. And so this is going to be new for us. And so I'll have to listen here in front of everybody and be polite and nice and all those things I'm supposed to be. But she's going to help me.
You can't say those things you usually do.
I can't say those
Sundays
things. Should I tell that story about the staff meeting thing? That's a good story to say? Okay.
The very first?
Well, okay, maybe not.
Don't they need to know us a little better?
That's probably true. I won't share that story. Come back tomorrow and I'll share that story when you know us better at that point. So that'd be kind of good. So we're going to try some things, and what we want to be is just real with you guys, okay? So we don't have a lot of things that are slick and fancy, and so this is going to work sometimes. It's not going to work sometimes. There's going to be some awkwardness and all those kind of things. But we had a great time so far because we thought we'd try something really special, and that was to go on vacation together for a week with not a real plan, and then come talk about marriage to you afterwards. And so we didn't have any material before we came, but this we've got a lot of fresh material here for you because we spent a week together enjoying the beautiful outdoors here. And here's a picture of us. And we like to do groupies, we call them together. I don't know if it's selfies, but this is groupies. And we saw all kinds of mountains and hills and trees and bears and elks and all those kind of things. We got to go to Yellowstone and had a blast there, how beautiful that place is. And so I have no idea what mountain that is, but this is the only one that we all have our eyes open on. So that's kind of it is. I got some prettier pictures, but we don't all have our eyes open. So this one we do. And so we're glad to be here. We're honored. I say that truly, truly, truly. You are heroes to me. Because you do more with less than probably anybody else does. You really do. And many of you guys are working 1, 2, 3 jobs, and you're doing it for the sake of the gospel, and you're heroes to me. So any chance that I have to come and to share what little I know, what little I've learned, I'm honored to do that and truly humbled to be here. Now, I know that most everybody knows everybody here, but we want to try to help people get to know one another better. Okay, so that's what we'll start with today. And so I really kind of need 4 volunteers. Now, I don't know if you're a volunteer kind of person. I'm not that kind of person who ever volunteers. And so I can tell who doesn't volunteer because you've already got your head down, right?
I was going to say they put their heads
down. They've already
down.
put their head down. And in Branson, we have all these music shows. If you've not heard about Branson, you need to come at least once. And they have all these music shows, and they always drag some guy out of the audience and put him on the stage and embarrass him.
We're not
Okay?
going to do that.
Yes, we are going to do that. But
Okay,
yeah,
I
we are.
didn't know what you were doing.
well, that's right. See, we're trying to make this real, and so we didn't really talk a lot about this, okay? Because it wouldn't go well if we didn't. So I need 4 volunteers. If you don't take a volunteer, then I'll draft. And so it looks like the wife needs to come because she's putting your hand up. So come on up. What is your name? What is your name, ma'am? Come on up. Come on up. Megan. Okay. Oh, goodness. Is that really? Should we let that happen? Just Megan or Megan and her husband?
No,
Just
her husband.
Robert? You're not going to make Megan's the one trying
I've already met Megan.
You've met Megan?
Yes.
Robert, I'm sorry you've been ratted out, man. There's 2 women against you. Come on, Robert. This is going to be awesome, man. Hey, here's the fun thing, Robert. Here's what I'll let you do. Besides your wife, you can pick somebody else to join you up here. So when you pick somebody out here, do you know anybody out here? Have you met these people?
Lee Merck up here.
Lee Merck? Okay, Lee. Did Lee? Oh, here's Lee. Okay. All right, Lee, we'll let you pick somebody. How about that? We'll play a game like this. Do you have any friends in this room? Because if you pick them, you're not going to have any after you pick them. So I'll just let you know that. Who should I bring here?
Let's see.
It's an hour show. Come on, Lee. Hurry up. All right.
Dave Carroll up here.
Dave Carroll. Oh, Dave. Dave, come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. Dave, pick
Oh,
somebody.
he's excited.
Anybody except, your name was Robert, right? Yes. Anybody but Robert's wife. You can pick anybody else beside that, okay? But you can't pick her because that'd be in trouble. Yeah, we'll get her later. Don't worry. We've got her. Okay, yeah, we'll get her. Don't worry. Dave, who are you going to pick?
Well, who I want to pick, I'll need marriage counseling.
Well, Joey's available, so we can pick a little thing right there. That'd be fine.
I'm going to go with BJ Hallmark.
BJ Hallmark. Awesome, BJ. Okay, very good, very
They
good.
meet up here.
Yeah, no, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
up here. So
okay.
have you guys.
Let's
so,
have 2 over here, though. Don't you think?
Yeah, let's have 2 guys over there, and then 2 guys over here. Awesome. So you got to go first. You want to go first or last?
I'll go first.
First? You want to go first or last?
I'll go first.
First. All right, we got 2 first. So here's what we're going to do. Y'all, how many of y'all know Robert? Okay, that's good. How many of you know Robert? Okay. How many of you know Lee? Okay, awesome. So you can know these guys. But they've got some hidden talents that you just don't know about. Did you know this? This is a hidden talent, and so it's kind of like a little competition over here. And Kendra, can you go to the keyboard? Do you mind if we use that your keyboard, Mr.
yeah.
Berg? Is that okay?
Okay.
She's going to use that because we're going to find out some talent these guys have here tonight because they have got some hidden talent, and what they have hidden talent with. I'm going to turn the clicker here. They've got some hidden talents with yo-yos. All right, so let's see your best yo-yo tricks. Here's some yo-yo music to you guys. Let's see what you got. Again, it's an hour show, guys. Woo! Oh, nice. That went all the way down. It's a yo-yo. So you got the yo part, but how about the yo-yo? Wow. Nice. Robert, you're struggling here, friend. Walk the dog, huh? Is that what that is? Nice. I love it. Okay, that's good. You don't hurt yourself. We're going to wait on Robert. Robert can wind the string on the yo-yo. That's pretty talented. Awesome. All right, thank you very much. Good job, guys. Why don't you guys keep those yo-yos and practice with those later on? Not while I'm talking, but that's a good yo-yo. Right? So you enjoy those. Very good. Awesome. Okay, so we know they don't have hidden talent. We were hoping they did. But looking at you guys, remember your names. You got your name covered. BJ. I love that, BJ. And Dave. All right, so you yo-yos. Did you know how to do a yo-yo? You did? Okay.
Why did my teammate leave the stage?
Yeah, because they're done. They're done. Because we got something special for you guys. I know you are, BJ. And remember who invited you up here? Okay, all right, very good. That's all you got to know. Because we've got some really exciting things happening to us here. These are light-up hula hoops, all right? So let's see who can hula better. A little hula hoop music. So on your mark, get set, go. Let's see what you got. Woo! Oh, yeah, get up here higher. Big step away out of the way in this. Awesome. Okay, we'll take turns. You get to keep the hula hoops, too. You guys need to practice. Wow. Man, well, that was something, guys. I appreciate that. There is no concern for Pentecostals here in the Baptist Convention. Is that right? Because you guys just cannot move, but that's all right. what I want to show you my hidden talent, because I've got hidden talent as well, and this is something that I've learned to do probably in the last couple of years, because I decided that in order for me to go back to school, I was going to have to learn to do something, and something with great skill, and so I've worked on learning to juggle, all right? Because I said I can't go back to school until I learn to juggle, because I've got to learn to juggle because everybody knows how to juggle. So I've worked on very hard. Do you have any juggling music that's not scary?
Not scary.
Not scary. Well, I'm not sure that's juggling music, dear. You have anything else?
Well, I can go back to the boogie.
Why don't you just stand there and not play anything? How about that?
Where's Joey?
Yeah.
Your last
There we
name.
go. All right, here we go.
Your last name.
Aren't you impressed with that? That's all I've got. Okay, that's it. Print down. Thank you very much, dear.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I want you to know, is that I want you to juggle as well. So Nathan, Travis, would you help me with this over here? Because we have got a set of juggling balls for everybody tonight. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, after you get your juggling balls, we'll pass those out. We got some for everybody. If Breeze, want to come help me?
Take the box.
So these are our water bottles over here, water glasses.
Okay.
And so what I want everybody to take these
Here, I'm
out,
gonna carry
and we're going to see who is the best juggler tonight. Okay? So you may have to spread out.
Does everybody get
Yeah,
one?
everybody gets one.
Not
We
one
got
for a
100
couple?
sets of these.
You don't have to share. That's
You don't
good
have to
news.
share.
I'll start.
These
the
are
back.
everybody's. I dropped one. I dropped one. All right.
Hi, Jean.
All right, can you help me out there? Those aren't all yours. That's just one. Okay,
I
all
do
right, very
good
good.
horseshoes. So.
Look at that. Pause it. Wait till we get all here. They're here. I know, no practicing, no getting advanced. They got all. Look at them. Get them to everybody. Because I want to see if you have that hidden talent. Okay, now how many of you already know how to juggle? How many of you know how to juggle? 4 of us. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people know how to juggle. How many of you do not know how to juggle? Okay, quick lesson on juggling. All right, quick lessons on juggling. We're going to ask you to stand here in just a moment, and we're going to ask you to juggle. You may have to spread out because you don't hurt anybody around you. What you do if you're right-handed, I know how to do it right-handed, left-handed, I don't know. If you don't know, there's instructions in there, okay, so you can look at that later on. You can YouTube it. I don't know how we did anything before YouTube. You take 2 balls in your right hand, 1 ball in your left hand, okay? And so has everybody got the ball? Everybody need one? If you need one, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. If you need more, everybody got them? Okay. So go ahead and stand up and spread out a little bit. Stand up, spread out a little bit. If you're a lefty, I don't know how this works. So maybe
Did y'all all get them?
do it backwards. You've been doing that all your life, haven't you? Just do it backwards, all right? So you take 2 balls in your right hand, okay? And what you're going to do, don't, if you know how to do it, that's fine. If you don't, what you're going to do is take 2, and you're going to throw 1 this direction, okay? And while you throw that one up, you throw the left one the other direction. Then you catch this one before you catch this one, you take the other one. So watch. See how that worked? 2 in your right hand, you cross them. So this one goes over here, that one goes up, this one comes over, cross over like this. Got it? On your mark, get set, go. Very nice. Some of you are still going.
Let me get my camera.
Nice. I wish I could get this on video because this is awesome. No, you can't just do one hand. All right, stop.
Oh, I got it.
Have you got it? Did you get the
Yeah,
video?
have him do it again.
Some of you are doing this. You're going. That's not juggling, all right? All right, take 2 in your right hand. We'll try it one more time. Take 2 in your right hand, and then you go over. Ready, go. Okay, some of you are out. Okay, stop. Okay, we're doing one more time. Here's how we're going to do this time. You're going to keep going. As soon as you drop one of the balls, you're out. Okay? So you're out, and we're going to see who is the last juggler juggling. Okay? The last juggler juggling. So don't cheat. God is watching you, okay? So don't cheat. But we'll all start together, and we'll see whoever's last is the last juggler juggling. Bree, you don't have any juggling balls in your hand. How can you be playing? Okay, there you go. All right, that's... Okay, it's always that way. Okay, ready? On your last juggler, keep going to the very last person. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. Okay, that lasts 4 seconds. Okay, here we go.
Oh no, there's
Here we
some
go.
going.
We got
He's
2.
He's going right here.
4.
Oh,
Do we have a winner? We got Paul up here as the winner. Awesome job, Paul. Very good. You are able to keep these. These are yours to keep, to take home and practice. Right. Now, why in the world would I come from Branson, Missouri to make you juggle?
Because it's awesome.
It is awesome. But here's the real reason. I remember sitting with a group of guys one time, and we were introducing one another, and we asked, what did you do for a living? It's that classic question. Well, what do you do for a living, right? And I'm sitting there in this conversation, everybody's like, I'm a banker, and I'm an attorney, and I'm a teacher. And we get to the biggest, burliest guy of the group. I mean, he's just like the manly man guy. Nothing like me. I'm like the white, pasty, indoor kind of guy. All right? But this is an outdoor. This guy could have been from Montana, big, tough, strong guy. And he said to everybody, well, I'm a babysitter. And that just threw me. Because I understood banker, attorney, and this guy's like a big, strong-looking guy. And he said, he's a babysitter. And I said, I had that little dog look. You know, the dog looks at you, kind of turns your head and goes, what are you talking about? I did that to him, and I said, tell me again, you said you're a babysitter? He said, yes, I'm a general contractor. And I'm like, aha, that is what you do, because you have to babysit all the guys to do what they're supposed to do. And so I started thinking about what we do for a living. And babysitter, yeah, kind of. That's pretty good. But really, more or less, what we are, we're really jugglers, aren't we? Because we juggle a lot of different things. And we're trying to keep them all up in the air all at the same time. And some of us are better at it than others are. Some of us are better than what we used to be. Some of us aren't quite as good as we used to be when it comes to juggling. And so usually when someone asks you what you do and you say pastor, that kind of takes the conversation that was open and does what to it? Slams it shut. So what I'm starting to do now is, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a juggler. And in Branson, that's really not that unusual, to be really honest with you. And so, okay, great, go down the street, that's fine. But in other places when you say that, that really kind of opens up a conversation with people. And so what I want to kind of talk about is the fact that you and I are called to be jugglers whether or not we want to be. And some of us are better at it than others. But our challenge is we have probably more than just the three balls trying to keep up in the air, don't we? Because I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I didn't notice this really until I started trying to buy juggling balls, that it's really hard to find more than 3 juggling balls in a kit. I mean, it's just 3 when you think about it. You can only buy 3. But you and I have more than 3 that we have to juggle, and we're going to talk about those tonight. My lovely assistant back over here, I've got some other juggling balls behind you, and they were in order earlier on the floor in the back. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. You're going to hear more from Kendra. She's just like a sidekick tonight, but you're going to hear from her. She does talk, and you can tell she can play the keys already on that. But we've got 4. There's 6. There's 6 balls we have to have. And the first one that we have to juggle, pick it up and throw it to me. Yes.
And it's orange?
No, well, is this orange? Hang on, just a second, pardon us.
See, this is what happens when you don't tell me what you're doing.
Yes, I know. That is orange. Very good.
Okay.
You're right. And that's the one I need, too. Thank you very much. All right, good. One of the balls we have to juggle is this God ball that we have to juggle, right? Because all we're doing is for God. Or at least that's what we signed up for. Right? Remember signing up for that? Hey, God, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll follow you anywhere. How many of you did not anticipate Montana being that anywhere? Yeah, right. It's like, Lord, Montana? Really? So you and I have to juggle this ball, and hopefully this ball we keep in the air most of the time. Because if we lose this ball, we really have lost all the other reason that we do all these other things, right? If it's not our relationship with God that drives us, if it's not our communication with God that drives us, if it's not our motivation, then we really are underpaid, underappreciated, and kind of almost wasting our time doing what we're doing, except for this divine influence, this divine calling that we have. See, we really believe that there is a God, that the Bible is true, and what it says is really going to happen. If we miss that, if we lose that, then everything else we do we could be doing something else that would probably be a lot more fun, pay a whole lot more, and people might appreciate us more. So if we ever lose this one, we're going to be in real, real trouble. So this is one of the balls that we've got to have up in the air all the time. There's a second ball that we've got to have up in the air, and that would be the self ball. Now, can you tell what that says? It's really hard to see, isn't it? Because this is the ball that gets dropped often by us. We've already heard testimony of that we'll just go and go and go until we drop, and then once we've dropped, it's very difficult to get back up. And so this self ball happens to be purple, and it's written in black there to tell us that this ball we need to keep going as well, because if we don't, then we're not going to be able to juggle at all. And yet I oftentimes find that men are the worst at this. And we run this crazy line in ministry where we can work ourselves to the bone and nobody notice. Or we can be as lazy as all get out and nobody notice. And there's this danger in the middle of losing ourself. So we've got this God ball that we've got to keep juggling up in the air. We've got this self ball, this self-relationship that we know ourselves and are involved. And please don't laugh too much when these don't sit there, because I had these aired up. Hey, Travis, you want to come here and just stand here the whole night and just hold it right there? No, okay, all right, I'm kidding. He was thinking about that. Well, I tried that. Nathan, come help me. Nathan, come help me. Making sure it fits. But then there's this third ball.
Nice. Sorry. Oh.
But you got to help me put that ball up. Cool. Very good.
It's behind the curtain.
It's behind the curtain. He'll crawl under there and get it. Sorry about that, Nathan. Did you find it over there? He's good. The kids are wonderful, aren't they? Aren't you glad you had kids? That's awesome. So I've got this second ball of self, but then I've got this third ball, and this person called spouse. And there's a relationship there, or there should be a relationship there. Why don't you just come stand right over here, and I'll just toss them to you, and you can put them on there. But there's this spouse relationship, and I don't know about you, but sometimes this one is one of the toughest ones of all to work with. And that's not good. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So we've got this third ball that's supposed to go up there.
I kept my mouth shut.
Thank you very much. Then we got this church job deal that we do. And notice that this ball is not quite round like the other ones. You notice that? It's just kind of a little odd-shaped kind of a ball. And in fact, the gentleman that was blowing it up today, I thought was about to blow this one up. And I was like, hey, could you not put so much air in that, buddy? But that's okay. We've got this church job that just demands our attention constantly, doesn't it? There's always somebody. I don't know about you, but I like mowing grass because I can be done and I walk away. And for a week, it's okay until the grass grows back. Ministry is not like that, is it? It's never, ever done. There's one more phone call to make, one more visit to make, 15 more minutes of study. I could do this, I could do that. And this thing can just eat your life up if you're not careful. And so we got this church ball that we're trying to be lifting up at the same time. Okay? So we've got the church ball, we've got the God ball, we've got the self ball, we've got the spouse ball. And then most of you guys in this room have really a job out there. Not just your church job, but your job. And maybe you're independently wealthy and you don't have to have a second job. That's awesome. We'd like to talk to you about contributions to the cooperative program. That'd be awesome. We'd love to talk about how that works. Fred, I'll be happy to see you about that. But sometimes you've got your own business, which may be more difficult than working for somebody else sometimes, because you're trying to go one more job, one more thing I can do, I can get this assignment done, all those things. Or you've got a boss who doesn't understand your ministry calling, doesn't understand how those work together. So you've got this ball that you're trying to keep up in the air at the same time. And then for some of us, we've got another ball, and that's this crazy thing called family and friends. Not just your spouse. One of my favorite heroes in life is Calvin of Calvin and Hobbes. Anybody know the cartoon strip, Calvin and Hobbes? And one thing Calvin says, he's a little 8-year-old boy, if you don't know, who has this kind of a tiger that sometimes is a real tiger, sometimes a stuffed tiger, and we're not really sure how that works out. But I remember him coming in to his tiger after talking to Mom and Dad, and he comes to Hobbes, the tiger, and he says to him, his stuffed tiger, "I'm related to people I don't relate to." Has that ever happened to you? I mean, do you have some people like, who is this person in our family? And how did I get in this family? Or how did they get in the family? Because it just doesn't seem to work. And then some of you have friends or you think you have friends. Yeah, you're laughing. We don't really have friends, do we? Most of my
Sorry.
friends have been imaginary friends in the first place, I think, most of the time. But you think you have friends, and then either they're not there when you desperately need them, or they turn on you, or there's something else to manage. So you've got these balls to get up there as well. So we've got these 6 balls that we have to juggle all the time, and most of us aren't even good at juggling 3, and we have 6 of these. Thank you, Nathan. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. And so we've got these 6 balls that we're trying to try to juggle, and I don't know about you, but sometimes we can't keep all these up, right? I noticed some of you had a little challenge because the balls hit each other in midair. That happened to anybody here? Just a minute, okay? And then they rolled off over that direction, and then you got to go chase that one down, and you got to find that one. And so sometimes if we're not careful, these 6 elements, these 6 balls that we're trying to juggle and keep up, and we're running around, it's kind of like those guys who spin the plates. Ever seen those guys? They spin the plate, and they've got this plate spinning, and then they run over to this plate over here, and then they got to run over here, and they're running back and forth because those plates are in conflict with one another. Because if this one quits spinning, what happens to it? It falls, and it crashes, and it's over. So you rush over here, and you rush over there, and you rush over there, and unless you do something, you're going to collapse in the middle of all that rushing around, and then what happens to the plates anyway? They fall. And so what I want to do is I want to ask a couple of questions tonight and then try to give us a couple of answers tonight to a few things. And the first question is, who is winning and who is losing of these 6 balls in your life that you're juggling? Think about it in your life right now. Who's winning? Who's doing really well? Which one do you have really going in the air and it's flying and it's sailing and it's just working out perfectly and it's awesome and it's great and couldn't be better there? Okay. And then ask yourself the question, which one of these 6 is losing right now? Which one is winning? Which one is losing? But that's one way to think of it. But instead of thinking of it as a competition of winning and losing, what if we thought instead that we're responsible for all 6 of those and they're not in conflict, but they're in a tension? Because here's the difference. Conflicts are to be resolved. Tensions are to be managed. Now, for somebody here today, it's by Andy Stanley's one I stole it from. Most everything I have tonight's stolen. If it's good, it's stolen from somebody else, so ask me where I found it. If it's not good, it's probably mine. But conflicts are to be resolved. Tensions are to be managed. You and I are jugglers, and we're called to manage all of those. They're not in conflict. It shouldn't be that the church wins and my spouse loses. In fact, it must never be that. Because they'll always call another pastor. Somebody else can pastor First Baptist Church Branson and probably do it better than me. But there's only one person that can be Kendra's first husband. Okay? She can pick another. In fact, I have enough life insurance that she can pick somebody nice and rich, not just rich. Okay? And so that's got enough insurance that she can do that. But there's only one person that can be her first husband, and there's lots of people that can pastor First Baptist Church Branson. There's lots of people that can pastor your church. But I don't think that it's a me pastor or me have a wife. I think both of those are possible. I don't think that I can only have a church job, because many of you guys can't do that, because you're serving in places where there's just not enough people to contribute to make that happen. So you've got to work a job. When in fact, maybe that's your best mission field in the first place and where you can do better ministry than to the church people, actually, if you really think about it. In fact, I think the idea of supporting yourself financially is a biblical model. I think we can see that in the Bible. And I think in the future, if things continue the way that they're going to go, that all of us as pastors will be bivocational in some sense. Or we may be vocational in the world, making a living, and then doing this God thing, this church thing, this Christian thing, this loving people to Christ and living the journey together off grid, if you will, as the grid gets pulled further and further away. Because you and I used to stand in the middle of our country, And now we're considered by most the far right-wing extremist, and yet we never moved. We've stood exactly where we've always been, and everything else moved. And we're like, what happened to this world? What happened? So you and I may all have to be in that kind of model, which may actually be better. Actually may be better. I've said this before in other conferences. I may have said this at the last conference, but it is a phrase, if I can remember how to say it correctly, that I'm less concerned about a post-Christian America as I'm excited about a post-American Christianity. Don't ask me to say that again because I'll get that confused. But a lot of what we call Christianity is really not Christianity. It's Americanism covering a Christian kind of view. So there's going to be there's not going to be a middle ground, whether you believe or you don't believe. You either believe or you don't. There's not just I'm going to go to church and kind of watch everything. And so we're going to be in the middle of that at some point. But you and I, if we can think about these as tensions to be managed. In fact, I had a rubber band over here. I don't know if I still have it or not. Yes, I do. A lot of people want to talk about balance in ministry. That you got to balance your family life and balance your ministry, balance all those kind of things. I don't believe that we're called to balance. I believe that we're called to make a tension. There's a tension in things. This rubber band is no good unless it's under what? Tension. Because if I have this and I'm going to hold the microphone, I'm going to wrap the microphone together, it doesn't do any good, does it? But if I put 4 or 5 of these rubber bands together, sound man, make sure this is not turned on, then I can keep all those together because there's tension on that. And tension is not necessarily bad. Balance is not necessarily bad, but there's no such thing as balance because you're not going to balance all 6 of these all at the same time in your ministry. There's no way to do it. You can't keep all 6 of these up. So there's got to be a tension that is united among all of these that we're trying to keep some of them up. And so here's what we're going to do for our time together over the next couple of days. For the next couple of days, we're not going to worry about family and friends. Okay? When this is not a conference on your family and your friends. It's not. So leave them away. I would get rid of that ball, but I'll need it later. So just kind of imagine that ball is gone now. We're not worried about family and friends. Okay? Most of us don't have any anyway, so why worry about them? Okay? So we're not going to worry about them. We're not going to worry about our job. Now, I know you may have to have your cell phone on. I still call them cell phones. They're not cell phones. They don't use cell anymore, but they're phones, right? Mobile phones. And you got to keep that on because they may need you at your job, right? But we're not going to worry about that. There's another conference for how to manage your job. We're not even going to talk about your church job. We did that at Impact. Talk about the church people and how we're going to manage church. How do we do church better and strategy and all those kind of things. Those things are so important, so critical, and we've got to do them. But we're not doing them here. Well, we're going to concentrate on these 3 balls on the left side. We're going to talk about God here over the next couple of days. I think we got 5 more sessions of the way that I've broken them down. We're going to talk about ourself, because we don't talk a lot about ourselves. We've been taught that it's bad to think about yourself. It is, but it's not. Because ultimately, when you die and you stand in front of our Maker, there'll be no deacon around. Okay. First off, it's heaven, so that's a question right there. So there may not be. Right? Okay. No, I'm kidding. There's no deacons here, right? We're not going to let that people see that. But the deacons aren't going to be there with you. As much as you love your children, and they're wonderful, I'm sure, they're not going to be there with you. As much as your spouse is going to be there with you in this life, not going to be there with you. You're going to stand alone in front of your Maker and answer for what you have done with what you've been given. So really, this thing that we follow, this God that we follow, this ministry that we follow, this calling we follow, is not about us, but it's only about us. Let me say that again. This ministry is not really about us, but it's only about us. It's not about how big your church is and whether you had a number of baptisms or whether you got recognized on this or that. That's really not the goal. Ultimately, you come in this life by yourself and God, and you leave this life by yourself and God. And it's not going to be a check mark of how many baptisms you did, how many conferences you spoke at. That stuff is irrelevant. It's what you did individually to follow Jesus Christ. That's what matters with that. So we're going to concentrate about that. And then we're going to talk about spouse and how important that is. And tomorrow night I'm looking forward to, because Kendra and I are going to share a little bit of our journey. It's not always been the best of journeys. It's been challenging. There's been ups, there's been downs, there's been difficulty. I was called to ministry in 1989, so I've been at this for 25 years. Some of you have been doing it for longer than that. I respect that completely. We have some of the story that we'll tell you. We I've lived in, 8 or 9 different places in those 25 years of ministry and all these kind of crazy stories. We'll share that with you. But if I don't end up with her at the end of this ministry journey, then something went terribly wrong. Doesn't mean that God can't use it. Doesn't mean that God can't bless it. It just means that something terribly went wrong in the middle of that. So we're going to do, over the next 5 sessions that we have together, and I've broken them down to 2 tomorrow morning, 1 tomorrow night, and then we'll have 2 on Wednesday. So we got 5 sessions. The way that I'm counting them is we got a break in those things. We're going to spend some time talking about God, self, and spouse. So these are not in conflict, these 6 balls, but we're going to have to come sometimes and pick up this one, and hopefully we never drop this one. But sometimes we're going to pick up this one and the blue one, and we're going to have to juggle those for a little while. Other times you're going to have the green one and the yellow one and the orange one, hopefully. We're going to have to juggle that for a little while. But we don't think that these are in conflict. They're not in competing against each other because they're all supposed to be united in what God's called us to do, because He's called us to juggle really more than we can handle. So let me just kind of warn you. If you've got it all under control right now, you're missing something. Because our calling is this strange, weird, in fact, sometimes for those of us who like to be in control, this horrific calling that we'll never have it all under control, which causes us to depend and rely on God, because it's really His ministry through us. Now, when you look at the Bible, there's some people who get this right and some people who don't get this right. And so we're going to look at some of those passages. But just remember that conflicts are to be resolved. If you have a conflict in your church, that needs to be resolved. If you have a conflict with your spouse, that needs to be resolved. In fact, it doesn't have to be a conflict with your spouse, but let me just tell you, Joey Staples is an amazing listener. I get the privilege of working with him on a regular basis. And so don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. If you want to talk to somebody, there's nobody better than Joey to listen and talk to. So please take advantage of that opportunity. His wife, Jeannie, is here. Ladies, if you don't want to talk to Joey, come talk to Jeannie. She's amazing in the stuff that she has done. In fact, she's also, I have to say this, she's also in the LSU Athletic Hall of Fame. Actually, she's going, I wish she wouldn't say stuff like that. When you go to LSU, Louisiana State University, you heard of that place? When you go in there, Shaquille O'Neal is here, and Jeannie, not Staples at that time, but Jeannie Beadle is right there above him. She's happy to talk and share with you. My wife is around, so we're here to help. We are not some kind of fancy celebrities of any kind of sense. We're here just to encourage and help you. So if you want to talk to somebody, talk to us. That's why we're here for, because the tension that you feel and you face is never going to be solved. You're never going to get it right, but you can manage that tension. Now, if you're in conflict, that's one thing. We've got to solve it. Otherwise, it could be tension that we've got to manage, because these 6 are in tension. They're not in conflict. We're never going to come to a balance. We're never going to come to a conclusion. We're never going to finish this. It's going to be a constant battle. And for those of you who are like me, who like to have things finished, this is very irritating to you. It is very frustrating to you. You want just 5 minutes to be in charge of the world, because you know in 5 minutes you would solve it if they just let you have ultimate power in this world, right? Anybody like that? Some of you just need 3. You don't need the 5. Just give me 3 minutes. That's all I need. And I'll take care of it. But we're called into something that's never going to be fixed. It's never going to be solved, because God is working out something so amazing that we cannot see it or feel it or experience it. But one day when it all gets wrapped up, we're going to go, well, duh. I get it now. So here's what we want to do. We want to talk in the scriptures of a person who got this out of balance, who saw these in conflict with one another, and caused all kind of difficulty and challenge to the movement, to the following of Jesus, to the gospel. But once he got it right, once he saw it, once he understood, at least a little better than before, it radically changed him. It radically changed Christianity. It literally changed the world. Now, you probably already know who that is. It's the apostle that we would call Paul. But you remember, he didn't start out as Paul, did he? You know the scene. Jesus gathered these 12 dummies around him. It's the best we can call them. They're just 12 guys. They're just fishermen. They don't know any better. Called them around him. He gives them a message. Jesus is crucified. He's buried. He's resurrected. And now they've got to figure out what to do. So they have a meeting together. They decide, here's how we're going to do it. Here's going to be these guys. Here's the replacement. How's we're going to work that? Let's get some guys to take care of the tables. All those kind of things. And then there's this kind of scene that happens that we lose the first person to the cause. And this guy's martyred. We call it martyrdom today. And that, of course, is Stephen. And then if you follow the scriptures, it's as if the camera, which was on Jesus, was on the disciples, now on these guys that are following him, that are waiting the tables, now to this guy who dies, stoned. And the scene, the camera zooms at the feet of a guy named Saul all the time. You can almost see it cinematically. You can see this picture. We're following this, and then it kind of rises. I don't know if you watched AD or not. I tried to watch a little bit of AD. It's kind of good. At the beginning, kind of got a little crazy. That Sheldon show on NBC, you saw that AD? They do have television in Montana, right? Okay, good. All right. It's in color, right? It's in color? Okay, all right, good. But I tried to watch some AD. Just got to make sure you're alive. Tried to watch AD, and they follow the scene of this guy named Saul, and Saul is wreaking havoc. Is he wreaking havoc because he's a mean person? Well, no, not really. He's actually trying to defend. Because he sees this Christianity, this way, as an obstruction to what God would call. This is aberrant, he would say. This is anathema, or should be declared anathema. This is something wrong, it's something broken. We've got to stomp this out, because this is going to destroy what God wants to do. Because he holds this God ball up, but doesn't understand that this Jesus piece is not in conflict with God, for in fact it is God. He is God, but he can't get that tension. He's trying to uphold the Old Testament with all these rules and regulations and all those things that, fortunately, we don't have any rules and regulations in Baptist life, right? I mean, we understand all that stuff. We get rid of all that tradition and all that kind of stuff. So he can't understand how to hold that up with this other thing that's coming. He's holding up this Jewishness and can't understand, can't figure out this Gentile-ness. And he goes on this rampage. Right? Acts chapter 8. And Saul approved of his execution. This is Stephen. You know the Bible. I don't need to show you these things. This is what the scripture says. That there's a scene that Paul's watching there, Saul at this time watching it. And Saul's approved his execution. He's cheering them on. And sorry that it's shaking. It's not me. It's the air conditioner vent. So I apologize for that. So just do your head like this and you'll be fine when you come with that. And Saul approved his execution. And there arose in that day a great persecution against the church in Jerusalem. But watch what happens with that. And they were all scattered throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. Devout men buried Stephen and made great lamentation over him. I think when we lose one, we should make great lamentation over the ones we lose along the way. Fred's already mentioned these, right? We lose some. And we owe it to them to weep when we lose over them. But Saul was ravaging the church and entering house after house, and he dragged off men and women and committed them to prison. Now those who were scattered went about preaching the word. Aren't you glad God is smarter than you? Because this persecution was driving the church out, which is exactly what the church was supposed to have been doing in the first place. But you and I have a tendency to gather with those who are like us because we like them. And we don't go to those that we don't like, who don't like us, with the very gospel that they need to hear. And so this persecution that we may or may not face could be our greatest strategic moment in American Christian history. Because it's going to drive us to the places where lostness and darkness is. And it may be actually a good thing, all the things that we're facing. Nonetheless, Saul is doing all these things. He's attacking, he's ravaging, going from church to church, place to place. But Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked him for letters to the synagogues at Damascus. Why is that? Well, there are some of those way people that have gotten away. And I want to stop it. Because God is what's most important. Doesn't understand the Jesus thing, that Jesus is in conflict with God. No mention of Jesus, Old Testament, though we can find examples of that. No name of Jesus. This way stuff, it's confusing, it's wrong. We got to stop it. Conflict. And so he got those, so that if he found any belonging to the way, men or women, that he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. Now, as he went on his way, he approached Damascus, and you know what happens next, don't you? And suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. And falling to the ground, he heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And I love Saul's answer, as you do. Who are you, Lord? I don't know who you are, but I know you're Lord. And then notice the resolution to this conflict. Jesus, God, can't be the same. Conflict, not applicable, doesn't work, doesn't fit, can't be that, one or the other. Can't be the way and Jewish. He said, I am Jesus, the one you're persecuting. But rise and enter the city, and you'll be told what you are to do. Now, and you know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. That this guy who was trying to stomp out the way because he saw a conflict, when he understood how it fit together, it changed him. What changed him? He saw the light. He heard the voice. It was about Jesus. And here's what I hope happens to you at some time over the next, 48 hours? Is that the time frame? Whatever we have here together? I hope that sometime, and it may not happen in this room, it may happen in the hallway, it may happen underneath a tree someplace, maybe happen at dinner tomorrow night. But I'm hoping that at some time over this next 2 or 3 days that you'll see the light. That you'll see Jesus. You'll understand that no, it's not that I'm not doing a good job, Lord. That's the reason my church is not growing. Lord, it's not because of this, not because of that. But that what you see is a reminder of why you were called to do what you're called to do. And that you'll recognize that it's never going to be fixed. Don't you hate that? I hate that. It's never going to be fixed. You're never going to solve it. You're never going to get the deacon straight. You're never going to get the building straight. You're never going to get the finance committee straight. You're never going to get whatever board that you have to respond to. You're never going to get the missions thing straight. You're never going to get that person straight. You're never going to get this person straight. There's always going to be difficulties. There's always going to be challenges. You're never going to solve it. But that's not why you're there. You're there to see the light, hear the voice, follow Jesus, and lead other people to do the same. Because it's not about you, but it's only about you. There's this great tension that we have to manage. It's not going to be solved. It's not going to be fixed. It's not going to be something that you can solve it and go, it's over. Another of my favorite Calvin and Hobbes quotes is, Calvin is just this kid who just causes problem to mom and dad all the time. And mom and dad are lying in bed one day and they're talking about this, and the father says to the wife in bed, saying, you know what, if I would have known that parenthood was all ad-libbed, I don't think I would have ever grown up. But a lot of what we're called to do, we just have to make up, don't we? We don't know how to deal with this situation. This is something that's new. We had a staff meeting. Can you imagine? We had a staff meeting recently where we're trying to decide, okay, if a person starts coming to our church who claims to be transgendered, which restroom will they use when they come to our church? When we have a transgendered teenager, which cabin are they going to stay in? What's our policies? These are things that they did not teach me in seminary to know how to do. Right? And aren't you facing some things in your ministry setting where you're going like, I have no idea how to do this. I don't know. Where's the book on this? We're making this up as best we can to follow Jesus. And if we can keep that Jesus God, because we know Jesus is God, right? I mean, this means yes, it means no. We know Jesus is God. And so if we can keep that ball in the air and pick up these other two, and we have to, as best we can, for that moment, knowing that, okay, we're going to have to manage this tension. We're not going to solve it, but what do I have to do for now? And then I'll grab the other one and try to keep those moving. That's the best we're ever going to be accomplished here. So what we're going to do in the next couple of days is we're going to concentrate on God, we're going to concentrate on self, and we're going to concentrate on spouse. Because if we can get those at this time, and that's what we're called to do for now, those other three are very important: church, job, family, friends, important. But we're going to set those aside for now. If we can figure out a way to manage these and get better at this tension management, instead of conflict resolution, and seeing that all these things are united under God's calling in our life, we will be able to last until He calls us home. If we don't, we'll drop some of those balls, we'll stop spinning some of those plates, and it all comes crashing down, and our adversary smiles. So we're in it for the long haul. We have to retreat every once in a while and understand how to manage this tension that we have. And when we do that, and we unite these, the gospel advances, we stay healthy, and we still believe we believed when we started. Because if we don't, bad things happen. Can I just pray for you tonight? Would you bow your heads, close your eyes? I don't know if any of this has hit you where you are. Maybe it has, maybe it's not. We've got some more sessions, so if God hasn't spoken to you today, He'll speak to you maybe tomorrow or the next day. But I just wonder, as you think about these things, is one of these winning and losing in your life? Is one of these balls that you're supposed to be managing, is somebody losing right now, or it feels like they're losing? Is it because you don't recognize that these are not conflicts, but these are tensions to manage? Could it be that what's going to change and how you're going to have that new church on Sunday when you go back is going to be because not anybody changed there, not that your church got a better building, not that you got nicer people to come to your church, but you're going to leave this place with a new frame of reference, a few tools. But more than that, in these couple of days, it's going to be because you've seen the light of Jesus and you are reminded of why you were doing what you're doing in the first place. Because when we drop that, when we miss that, we lose the rest of it. So I just wonder, in a moment like this, if you would grant me the privilege to pray for you. I just wonder if there's somebody here tonight, and we're not going to do that, walk the aisle, raise your hand, those kind of things. Not going to embarrass anybody. But is there somebody here tonight, nobody else looking around, who would just say, would you just pray for me, Neil? Would you just pray for me? Because some of the things that you've said tonight have just really hit hard to me. There's a challenge there. There's difficulty. It's tiring. You're worn out. You're feeling like a failure because it doesn't seem to be working. But maybe it's because it's never going to be working the way that we want it to work. Is there anybody that would just raise their hand just quickly and put it back down and say, would you pray for me about this? Yeah, I see hands all over the place. Yeah, anybody else? Yeah, Fred's right. This is tough stuff. And if we're trying to be winners and try to solve it and fix it and make it work, we're going to be really frustrated at some point. So let me just pray for us. Lord, the calling that you've given us is so challenging when we do it in our own strength. In fact, we will spend our life juggling until our arms fall off, and then it collapses anyway. Because you've asked us to do something that we can't do ourselves. We cannot do it in our own strength. We can't plant new churches. We can't revitalize existing churches. We can't keep our families together. Because if we do these in our own strength, thinking it's our task, Father, we've already failed from the beginning. And so forgive us when we don't see the light of your Son Jesus, who came to give us life. In fact, you sent your Son to give us life and to give it abundantly. And yet so many times as pastors, in fact, I feel it probably more in my ministry today than I've ever felt it. This burden of trying to carry all of this stuff, of trying to juggle all of these things. Seeing that this is a conflict and a problem that we're trying to solve, when in fact, Father, all you've done is called us to you and asked us to rest in you. And some of us need to see that light. We need to see that light. We need to hear that voice. We need to experience your presence with us to be reminded of what is ours and what is not ours. What is ours is the calling to follow you and be obedient. And you'll take care of the rest. So, Father, may we see all the things that you ask us to manage. May we see those as tensions to manage, not conflicts to resolve, not trying to fix everything, not trying to make everything right. But, Father, to be obedient as best we can with what you've placed in front of us as we literally try to follow you in all things. So, Father, for the one who's been here today who feels like a failure, who feels like they can never get it right, who feels like there's always a difficulty around the corner, Father, I pray that you would give them strength and encouragement tonight. A strength and a confidence to rely on your strength, not in their own. An opportunity to rest in you over these next couple of days, to learn some things maybe, but more than that, to hear from your voice and go back and be obedient to your calling. For ultimately, we don't work for a church. We don't work for a deacons. We don't work for a state convention. Ultimately, Father, we work for you. And how dare us lose our soul, our relationship with you, and the benefits thereof by trying to fix all these things around us. So, Father, help us to have a more unified view of our calling in our lives, that we may serve you better, so that one day we will hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Not well done, you planted 50 churches. Not well done that your church grew. Not well done that you had this number of baptisms. Not well done that you've had this growth in cooperative program giving. But Father, we'll hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant," to you. Father, I thank you for every man and woman that's in this room that have heard your call and who serve in a tough, tough place. Father, all places are tough, and it's getting tougher. It's getting darker, but when it gets darker, the light shines out more brightly. So renew our hearts for you. Renew our calling. Would you let us hear from you and to see the light, that we may return as jugglers of these wonderful areas of relationship that you've granted to us. We thank you for the privilege of serving people, for that's the only thing that you have placed the greatest value on. So, Father, give us rest, give us hope, give us encouragement for your glory and for the benefit of those who have to live around us. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.